Good evening. I'm Andre Louis, not Lewis, and I'm a sort of tall, stocky black guy from London, totally blind as well. And I've had the honor and privilege of working with the Ableton Note team since its almost inception on making this app somewhat more accessible. And well, it's done very well, because basically when it first came out, or when I first looked at it, you could barely do anything. But now you can do quite a lot of things. Including something like, what did I, there it is, a groove I made earlier, one of many. On my screen, by the way, right now are a ton of different things I've made with Ableton Note, and today we're going to make something together as well. But here's just one of the many. There's just lots of these little ideas, and the whole point of Ableton Note is to be a sketchpad for your ideas. So cleverer people than myself can actually use the built-in touchscreen to make stuff on the fly, but I'm just not that good because I fat finger it, so I don't. I've hooked up a MIDI keyboard today, which you can hear me playing now. I'm playing the Complete Control S88 Mark II, and we're going to make a little something. So what is Note? In essence, it's an 8-track sequencer that is pattern-based, and there are 8 tracks and 8 scenes, up to 8 scenes. And you can have 8 lots of clips, if that were, per track, right? So essentially, kind of like, I think that's a grid of 64. So you can make quite a fairly lengthy piece just with this app alone and its built-in sounds. You can also get sounds from an external sound source and sample them in if you want to as well, which is really fantastic, and you can make some really killer stuff. I've got a few other things in here. I also have a bunch of stuff from other people, because it makes it very, very easy to share these .abl bundle files, which I tend to receive a lot on WhatsApp from random people, which is quite exciting. I'm going to slow the speech down as well, because my speech is super fast.
Characters. Words, headings, speaking rate, 85%.
Certainly faster than my broadband.
70, 65%, 60%.
All right, there we go, it's better. Now, let's see.
Mysterious appointment 2 months ago. Please sign in triplicate 3 months. Play, please sign.
So please sign in triplicate is something that I was trying to make in the sort of a 6/8 style. So I'll play that quickly.
Play.
So it's kind of fun. You can do a lot of really funky stuff with this. And the one thing I really like, or many things I like about this app, but the one really great thing I find is that when you start a new, what they call set, and we're going to do that in a second, you will be presented with a lot of sounds that you don't know what they will be. Because it's to inspire you, you get whatever they give you. And you can, of course, change those things. But when you start out, you get this one sound on this one track, or whatever track you pick. And the first track is always going to be drums, but other tracks will vary. So I'm going to find the new set button somewhere top left.
Sets, heading, new set,
you get
button.
a cashback?
New set,
Oh, hello,
button.
YouTube, how you doing?
Mobile data, back to set, add clip in slot 1 in track 2, wavetable, button.
So right now I've got a list of tracks up, and there's nothing playing because I haven't selected a track yet. So normally I would go into track 1 drums, but I want to actually go to track 2 and start there today, because I want to use track 1 afterwards.
Track 2, wavetable, track 2, wavetable, FX1, button.
So I have a bass sound, which is kind of grungy.
55%.
So I could use it, but don't really want to. I'm going to change that. And that's the thing. If I were to make another new set, track 2 would be a different sound, but we're going to go change that along the top edge.
Throat bass, button.
So I'll press that.
Throat bass, tubular bass, button, tubular bass.
So we could use that if I want.
Vertical scroll bar, tubular bass, expand mini notes, button, synth string bass, throat bass, vertical scroll bar,
okay, it's near
10
the end,
pages,
so I'll
100, throat, synth plug bass,
We'll go back.
synth plug bass.
Yeah, let's use that. It's quite fun. So, right, we'll hit the done button now, top right.
F done, button, done.
And now we're
Set
back
settings,
in
button.
the main area where you can record and play and things. So let's talk about how this app works to record something, because it's a bit unusual if you decide to pick this app up, which is inexpensive, and about, I think it's about £6 UK in the UK store. Your country will vary. There's a play button at the bottom right.
Play, button.
Which if I hit that, we're likely to get a metronome. But I want to do a different recording method today, which is going to be based on what I play. And that basically is that you can play something and it will capture what you play instantly. Well, if you hit the capture button within 10 seconds, because trust me, if you don't, you'll lose it. And boy, I've lost some cool grooves that way. So the rule of thumb is, if you're blind at least, is I swipe one button to the left from the bottom right.
Quantize, dimmed, button.
And it says quantize dimmed because there's nothing recorded. And if I play one note, eventually,
Capture, button, image.
that switches to capture. And I've got a 10-second timeout now. So I'm going to wait for it to disappear.
Duplicate, button.
And then it's gone. So it means that if I want to play something right now, which I will do, and we'll put down a beat, Ableton is actually going to detect the tempo of what I played, and then we can save that and then work on it with something else. So let's play a little thing. Let's see, where am I?
Capture, button, image. 2 green numbers on a black background.
All right, quickly hit that.
Capture, image, duplicate, button.
So now it's playing back automatically, which is great. Now hit stop.
Stop, play.
Now, because I'm working over Bluetooth, there's a very slight lag, which means that I play a bit like a drunken monkey. So the first thing I want to do is actually quantize this. And the quantize dialog is a little weird to get into, but we're going to do it anyway. I'll show you how. So we have to double tap and hold on the quantize button.
Play, quantize, button.
And hopefully...
Play, but direct touch, quantize, button.
Of course it doesn't work. Why would it? Are you going to work? Ah, there we go.
Operations.
This happens, by the way. Don't work with animals and children live. And computers. Never works. Never works. Right, so we're going to quantize this to 16 notes.
Velocity. Quantization. Velocity. Close. Quantize off. 1_32. 1_16. Button. 1 underscore.
All right, done that, and I'll come out and hit done.
Triplets. Quantize velocity. Close. But close. Play. Button.
Now when I play, it will actually be in time. It'll be nice.
Stop.
So that's quite cool. I'm going to go back now, top left. And when I go back, I will be able to choose another track. So we're going to leave that track playing until I find a drum kit. Now we're going to find a nice drum kit here. So
Back to session view.
I'm hitting back to session view. I'm going to go to
Back to
track
sets.
one.
Track 1. Drum kit. Pad effects. Button.
I could use that kit. You know what? I will.
Direct.
So
Stop. Play.
what I'll do is, first of all, I'll turn the metronome on, because this time there's another way to record. We've done one way, and we need to do the other way now. I'm going to go into the set settings at the top right and enable the metronome. And we'll also see what the tempo is, because I don't even know what that is. Because the nice thing about capturing live is that you kind of don't know what it's going to be until you look. So you can get some really cool stuff done this way.
Set settings. Set tempo 130 BPM. Button.
Ah, a nice round 130. It could have been 132 or 5 or 9, but it's not. It's 130.
Key and scale. Export. Metronome. On.
All right, metronome is now on.
Done. Button. Done. Play. Button.
So now, when I hit play, what will happen is we'll get a 1-bar count in, and then I can play the drums if I want to, which I do, and then we can hit the, again, capture button, which turns into, this time, create clip. Because each of these tracks contain clips, as I mentioned earlier, and we're on scene 1, and therefore the bass track has a clip in it, and no other track has a clip in it. So we're going to make one of those now.
Play.
So I'll
button.
hit that.
Play.
All right. So I'll quickly go to that.
Create clip.
Button.
Create clip.
There we go.
Stop.
Got it. We got it.
Quantize. Button.
Quantize again.
Stop.
So we've
Play.
got 2 tracks, and you see you can start building a sketch really quickly. And this is the fun of this app. You don't really have to know too much about music. You can do stuff like that. And as I say, if you're really clever, you can use a touchscreen, and it has all sorts of different scale options, chromatic options, chord options. It has a ton of sound in it. The app in itself, I think, is about 500 megs. And I think there's a good 100 or something sounds in there in different categories. So let's go hunting for something a bit unusual from one of the random categories, which is always quite an experience and quite fun, actually. So I'm going to hit the back button again, top left.
Drop back to session view. Back to session view.
And
back to set 1.
of course, we want track 3, sorry, this time. We've done track 1 drums, track 2 is bass.
Clip 1 in track 1. Track 3. Track 3. Sampler. FX1.
Yeah, so we have no sound because it's set to the sampler. This thing actually can record as well into it. So you can record your own sounds, or you can import them with the share sheet. You can airdrop from a Mac. You could email the sound to your phone if you want. There's a lot of stuff you can do with this thing, and it's really cool. And that's why it's become my fast favorite go-to app for sequencing. Because despite having tons of sound in Logic and complete control and everything, I kind of like the limitation of being able to work in this way with this method and just have fun with it. Because sometimes working in a box like this, despite the limitations, is just full of surprises. And I think it's the surprises, honestly, that give me the inspiration I get working with this. So
Sample. Sample.
got to go to the top of the
All
screen.
samples. Call library. Recordings. Button.
Oh, they have this call
Call
library.
library. FX. Button. Loops. Button.
All right.
Notes. Button. Direct touch. Notes.
Let's try
button,
the notes.
Bass given E1 Bass pluck B1 Button.
So you hear it saying wave at the end. That's the file format of the sample. So there's some built-in samples.
Bass pluck B1
And I'm playing them.
Bass sign C. Bass substarch.
There's a lot of these.
Celeste C6 Celeste C6
So you could do that, for example. You can have a doorbell situation. Got to be done. So, you know, why don't we use this? We'll use we'll use it in a very simple way, and then maybe we'll add an effect to it afterwards. So this is a nice thing. It's quite dry. That's fine.
Done. Button. Done. Play. Button.
So again, I'll hit play, and because I left the metronome on from before, hopefully it stays on. And yeah, this one's actually in key. Some of these aren't actually in the right key. So I'll play, for example, I started this in F, and I could end up in like Q minor or something, which is a bit disturbing.
Play.
And you can tell it's a single sample just from the sound. All right, got to hit that.
Create clip. Add. Stop. Quantize. Button.
Same again.
Stop. Button. Play.
All right, we got that down. It's time for playing with some effects now, which is quite fun. So it's quite a dry sound. So we'll go along the top edge, near the top
Melodic
edge.
simpler. Button. Waveform. FX1. Button.
And we'll choose FX1. There are two sets of effects, by the way, for each track. So you can have, for example, a delay and a reverb, or a chorus and a flanger or something. Although you should probably do those together because that's quite boring. All right, here we
FX.
go.
Direct touch. Feedback. Direct. Delay. Button.
Okay, so we've got a delay. It's given us delay as the first
Direct
effect.
touch
which
area.
could work, actually. So let's see.
FX. Filter 3. Direct touch.
Okay, I'm going to have to choose.
Delay. Button. Delay. Phase of redux. Delay. Button. Delay. Fourth distant. Button. Fourth distant.
Can't really hear
8
that. It's
dotted.
there, but
8 dotted.
that's hearable. So if I hit play now, we should hear what that actually does to the sound.
Play. Play.
With the metronome. It's coming together.
Fourth distant. Button. 8 dotted. Button. 8 dotted.
8th dotted. I quite like that one.
Stop. Play.
All right, we haven't got any chords, have we? I think it's time for some chords. Let's go see what we can do for chords.
Back to audio effect. Back to audio effect. Done. Button.
Hit
Done.
the done top right first because I
Set
was actually
settings.
in the effects area, which I didn't want to be.
Back to session view. Button.
Back to session view.
Back to track 1. Drum. Track 3. Clip 1 in track 1. Track.
Oh, you notice it only shows 3 tracks. So that's what fits on the screen. So it's time to find the add track button, which is oftentimes down the bottom edge of the screen. So it will take me a little while to find that.
Add scene. Add clip in slot 8. Scene look. Redo. And add new track. Button.
All right, there we go.
Add new track.
So now I've hit that.
Redo. Button.
If you're blind and you press that, you might think nothing happens because it does, but it's at the top edge of the screen. So you just kind of have to go looking for the thing. So we'll find
FX.
that.
Synth key. Mobile.
Actually, I think it's put me right in the place to start playing on. At least that's kind of cool. It has. So I don't really have to do anything at this point. In fact, I kind of like that sound. So should we use that sound? I think we shall.
Play. Done. Button.
Hit done.
Done. Play. Button.
Okay. Now I just have to remember what I played. The thing about live demos is that I get nervous and I have no idea what I played. So we just have to pretend that the chords will work. Go with it. Just go with it. Okay?
Play.
Don't tell me, Mum. Usual.
Create clip. Create clip. Stop. Button. Stop. Play.
So this actually does give me an opportunity to show you the undo and redo buttons because that was terrible. So that's all right. That's actually good. Bottom left of the phone,
Undo.
there's an
Button.
undo. And if I hit
Undo.
that, hopefully if I hit play now, the previous clip is now gone.
Play. Play.
It's gone.
Stop. Play.
I'm happy about that, believe me. So let's actually play in the right way.
Play. Quantize. Dimmed. Button. Create clip. Button.
Hit that button.
Create clip. Duplicate. But quantize. Button.
And quantize. So there we go. That is a quick, very quick, dirty demo of Ableton Note. Now you can do a lot more than that. You can duplicate all these clips to make other scenes and turn it into a fully fledged track with an A and a B section and a C section and do really fun stuff. But the fact that all these sounds are coming from a mobile phone seriously blows my mind. And the first time I ever started doing anything like this was in 2010 or 2011 with the Korg IK oscillator, which I still love to this day. But this app is just a whole other level of amazingness, and I'm never bored of it. I mean that, I'm never ever bored of this. I'm always finding new ways to use these sounds that I've been messing with. And there's a lot of stuff in here that you can now change, for example, about the sounds. You can change the filter types, you can change the ADSR, attack, decay, sustain, release parameters. As we heard, we could add effects. There's a lot to be done, and I know that there's a lot in the pipeline that's going to just make this even more accessible and even better. So that's a bit about Ableton Note, and if you have questions, I'd love to hear them. Funky demo for you.
Stop. Play.
Thank you very much, Andrea. That was amazing. Really, really nice demonstration and lovely tune.
Off the cuff business.
So I've got a microphone here if anyone has any questions in the room, but equally anyone in the chat on Zoom. Yeah, any questions? Dave?
Yeah, amazing demo, thank you. I wonder how does it work with, you said you've been working with Ableton. Is it a case of that you just give them a set of requirements, or is there a conversation, or do they test stuff out with you?
Oh no, they're actually properly doing it right, because a lot of people, I'm going to say the horrible word virtue signal, they say they want to make their products accessible and they pretend to get like a cadre of blind testers in, but they don't. There might be one guy or person who closes their eyes, puts a blindfold on, tries voiceover for 5 minutes and goes, yeah, it works, great, I love it, it's lovely. No. We've been testing with them every week, or nearly every week. We've been discussing, beta builds, and I can't talk about that, but they have been listening to feedback. And it's a real sight to behold, if you'll pardon the pun. Really great work from the team. Considering, as I say, when I first got this, it wasn't even accessible. None of the buttons worked. They all said things like chevron left. We've all seen that. Hamburger. Well, I can't eat the phone, so what are you showing me that for? Pointless. No, they do care, and it's really obvious from the way the app has progressed. And if you could see an early version, you'd know what I meant. But yeah, they really are paying attention.
I've got a question in the chat.
I hope that came over Zoom all right, actually. I don't even know.
Right, so James is asking, is importing audio accessible?
Yeah, I've done it. I only done it once, actually, because I'm more interested in sort of making stuff with what's inbuilt. But you can do it. I have done it. I would not feel confident/competent at showing you how I did it, especially in a live room like this. It's embarrassing. You might laugh at me. But you can do it. It's doable. It works. So have fun with it if you decide to try this out. And I really hope people do. It's a worthwhile app, honestly. Much fun.
Got another quick question over here, and then over to Mandy.
Yeah, just how did it connect to how's the keyboard connect again? What did you say it was Bluetooth? Or do you have an adapter cable?
Ooh, good question. Well, if you're on Windows, then you probably want to use something called RTP MIDI from Tobias Eriksson, which is free, and Ableton Note supports network session, aka RTP MIDI, or Bluetooth MIDI. So if you've got like a Seaboard Rise or something which supports Bluetooth, or a Bluetooth keyboard, do that. I'm cheating. I'm using my laptop via Logic with the keyboard connected over USB because I'm just extra. And the Mac is responsible for sending out Bluetooth MIDI to my phone. So I could walk kind of across the entire room and someone could still hit the keyboard and it would still play, which is quite funny. But yeah, Bluetooth MIDI is how I'm doing this. Oh, I should add, sorry, you can do it via USB as well. So if you've got a camera connection kit, particularly a powered camera connection kit, there's a friend of mine who uses a Native Instruments M32, which is like a baby version of this keyboard, much smaller. Got one at home that's cute. And he connects it via camera connection kit, so you can direct connect, so you don't have to suffer the lag that I suffer playing here today.
Hello, hi, hello.
Hello.
I just was, we know when you were doing the app and it had the voiceover just to say what buttons to press and all that. Is that integral to the app?
In the sense of that they made it work, but if you're sighted, of course you don't have to use voiceover at all. This is just one of those apps that happens to work well with voiceover because we've been working with them to make it work with voiceover. So I don't know if I understand the question correctly, as in, do you need voiceover to use it? No, not at all.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
I was just wondering if it was possible to use it without the voiceover as well.
Oh, 100%. The only reason I do so is because I'm totally blind and I kind of need a screen reader.
Okay. Oh, okay then.
You're welcome to come up in the break if you want and try and have a play. I can turn speech off and you can navigate around, see what you can do.
So that accessibility feature is built into the actual iPhone, is that correct, Andre?
Yes, VoiceOver Screen Reader is built into iOS ever since iOS 4.1, I believe, going back hundreds of years. Android has taught back. These days, Windows has built-in narrator. macOS has built-in VoiceOver on the Mac as well, same name as the iPhone version. tvOS has VoiceOver. Amazon Fire has a Voice of You screen reader. So basically almost every off-the-shelf thing these days that's worth its money has a screen reader built in. A lot more things than you think.
No, great, that's really, really good to know. I think I have another question in the chat. Comments, okay.
So Charlie in the chat has said, I was using Ableton Note when it first came out with a disabled person who uses a head tracker to make music on an iPad, but it wasn't massively accessible at first. But hearing how you've worked with them to make it better, I'm really keen to give it another go now.
Yeah, I would say try it and see, and if not, then they've got a feedback form, I think, somewhere that it's worth writing to them and saying, can you try to implement XYZ to make it so that you can work with your friend, your client, whatever it is that needs to be done. Because right now they seem to be on a very receptive track, more than a lot of music makers. So I would say reach out and hopefully you can get something done.
Thank you.
Great. Has anyone got any more questions in the room? No, great. Well, thank you again, Andre.
Thanks for putting up with me. Cheers.
Oh, sorry. One more question, I think. So sorry.
Hi, Andre. That was fantastic. Thank you. My name is Brian. Could you say a bit more about how you're using chords?
Well, in this sound of this synth, I actually just played the chords myself.
Can you get the app to deliver chords?
Yeah, you can actually.
The reason I ask is, obviously you can't say, I used to play the guitar, but I have a seriously injured hand, so I can't play chords on the guitar anymore. So I'm looking for things where I can trigger chords, if you see what I mean. Yeah,
I'm almost certainly has a chord mode. There are certain parts of the app that, being a so-called keys player myself, I've not delved into as much as I probably should for testing reasons, but don't tell anyone. So I'm pretty sure it can do the things you suggest, and there are a whole section of things that say chord on them that would play chords for you. Might be in the sampler section and stuff like that. So yeah, I believe so. Thanks everyone for having me, and cheers.
Brilliant. Thanks again, Andre.